Good afternoon. Welcome to week 4 of my recovery. I was waiting to post this because I saw my doctor yesterday. I did not get an EKG, which is kind of lame. But she clearly didn't read everything that was on my hospital discharge papers, like the full report of everything that was wrong with me and what they did, because she recommended I get a CT scan for a calcium score. So I said, how about an angiogram? How do those rate against the CT, the calcium score? She says, oh, those are the gold standard. I said, well, I got one of those. And they said that I have, and I read the document to her that she had handed me, widely patent coronary arteries. What does that even mean? And she says, oh, it means your arteries are clean. And then she explained what the arteries look like when you get a clog, etc. So she says, oh, if you got one of those, then you don't need, And it's something like, doctors love giving radiation to people or something. I guess if you're well, they figure they can make you sick with something by giving you some x-rays and maybe you'll develop a problem. Anyway, I feel good. Off the prednisone now. Take Tylenol, maybe acetaminophen and some ibuprofen if I really need it. Discharge document. I was reading my discharge documents, and what's interesting about the discharge document is it does not say what the doctor had told me verbally. What the doctors had explained was that I need to refrain from doing a lot of work. And maybe that was just because that's what the conversation led us into in the way I was asking questions. But what it says is moderate intensity is okay. But what I discovered is, first of all, my gauge should be how tired I am, because I can feel the stress. One thing that kind of freaked me out is that the nurse or the medical assistant, whoever it was, they were taking my pulse yesterday, and they're cranking up the pressure on the cuff on my arm. As soon as they released it, something happened. All the blood comes rushing back in, and my heart, it was like the strongest, most uncomfortable palpitation I ever felt. It was crazy. So I know my heart is still jacked up. But what I figured out is not only is it, do I feel is my stress an indicator of how much work I should do, work meaning physical activity, but also I think it's because when lifting heavy weight, we use a Valsalva maneuver. We hold our breath, close the glottis, and create intra-abdominal pressure, which initiates a reflex of increased blood pressure. So that stresses the heart out quite a bit. Not that I've done that, but I just kind of realized that yesterday, that part of the reason why it isn't just like, oh, I'm just going to move around a lot, raise my heart rate. That can jack up your blood pressure a lot. And if you've lifted heavy before, you know what I'm talking about. So that's one thing I have to stay away from. But the solution, so a lot of buts and a lot of buts and a lot of ifs, but we all arrive at this right here. Greasing the groove is the solution. This is a form of technical training. For example, the best example and the most applicable, which you should all follow, is to build your pull-ups for your upper body strength. If you can do one pull-up, you do one pull-up, and then you rest for like a minute. If you can do 10 pull-ups, you do 5 pull-ups. So you do whatever is the least stressful, right? I mean, if you can only do one pull-up, you do one pull-up. It's going to be pretty stressful. But the point is, you do a minimal effective dose, a minimal effective amount of volume of an exercise, and then you rest. So what you're working on is not the physical stress, like the building of the muscle through like muscle size through lots of reps, or the endurance through lots of reps, or the strength through a heavy load. You're just practicing the movement, the pattern. And so what that does is it trains the nervous system. In my case, since I already know how to do a lot of these different movements, I will use Grease the Groove just to exercise my muscles. It's driving me crazy not working out. I can't just sit around and not move. So if I do 1 or 2 push-ups, whatever does not jack up my heart rate, that will help keep my muscles moving and healthy, but it won't be a stress on my heart. So of course, this stinks that it took me, I'm on my 4th week now, figuring this out. But that's okay, because maybe I wasn't ready for that anyway, because there's still a little bit involved with the heart. So that's what's going on now. Keep tuned, and I'll post again next week.